Hello, let's talk today about the benefits of corn. Is corn good? Find out if it's worth consuming corn in your day. And your 7 health benefits of corn. Corn, maize, is a cereal grown in much of the world and extensively used as human food or animal feed due to its nutritional qualities. All scientific evidence suggests that it is a plant of Mexican origin, as its domestication began between 7,500 and 12,000 years ago in central Mexico. It has a high productive potential and is very responsive to technology. Its cultivation is usually mechanized, benefiting greatly from modern planting and harvesting techniques. World production was 817 million tons in 2009, more than rice, 678 million tons, or wheat, 682 million tons. Corn is grown in different regions of the world. The world's largest producer is the United States. Greetings and welcome to Nature of the Amazon channel. I ask you to subscribe and activate the bell. Leave yours. To strengthen the channel and share it with your friends and family so they can get to know our history of knowledge. And let's go by video. Etymology. The word corn comes from Vulgar Latin. Mealy term derived from the numeral thousand due to the amount of grains in each ear. The term corn is attested even before the introduction of the species maize in Europe, as it called what in Castilian it is called mijo, and in Portuguese it ended up being called millet or millet. The term more has its origins in the Taíno language of the island of Hispaniola, a term used in the Portuguese language at the end of the 20th century and attested by Antonio Galvio in his famous work Treaty of Ancient and Modern Discoveries, from 1563. From more comes the term cornstarch. In Portugal, in the 18th century, it was known as maize saburo, maize grande, maize graudo, maize maleo, maize thick and maize macaroca. The Amerindian populations of Tupi-speaking Brazil knew corn by names such as abati, aati, and abati. Scientific classification. Kingdom, plant. Division, Magnoliophyta. Class, Liliopsid. Order, Poles. Family, Poaceae. Subfamily, Panicoideae. Tribe, Maidae. Genre, Z. Species, Z in maize. Binomial name. Z maize. Plant characteristics. Corn belongs to the group of angiosperms, that is, it produces the seeds in the fruit. The corn plant reaches a height of 2.5 meters, although there are much lower varieties. The stem has a bamboo-like appearance and the joints are usually 50 centimeters apart. Root fixation is relatively weak. The ear is cylindrical, and usually grows at half the height of the plant. The kernels are the size of peas, and are arranged in regular rows attached to the cob, which form the cob. They have variable dimensions, weight and texture. Each ear contains from 2 to 400 kernels. Depending on the species, the beans have different colors, which can be yellow, white, red, black, blue or brown. The seed core has a pericarp that is used as a coating. Hair, stigma maedis. Corn hair is used for the plant to reproduce. From a biological point of view, corn hair exists for the plant to reproduce. That is, they serve to transport the pollen grains that will fertilize the ovules of the ear, giving rise to the corn grains, which are the fruits of the vegetable. Corn hair, stigma maedis, is an important reproductive part of corn, traditionally used by Chinese and Native Americans to treat many diseases. Main corn disease. Cercosporiosis is the main disease of corn, its symptoms and its indicated control method. Cercosporiosis is caused by the fungus Cercosporia zmates. This disease was initially identified in 2000 in the state of Goiás, now being present in all plantations in the center-south of Brazil, and when it occurs with high severity in susceptible plantations, losses can exceed 80%. Cassila, et.al. The symptoms are grayish spots, which are rectangular and irregular, in which they are developed parallel to the leaf veins, and in more severe attacks, lodging occurs. Cassila, et.al. Some controls indicated are the planting of resistant cultivars, avoiding the permanence of corn crop residues in areas where the disease occurred with high severity to reduce the inoculum potential, performing rotation with crops such as soybeans, sorghum, sunflower, cotton, and others. Since maize is the only host of Cercospora zmates, perform fertilization according to the technical recommendations to avoid nutritional imbalances in corn plants, favorable to the development of this pathogen, especially the nitrogen/potassium ratio. Composition. Corn pure or as an ingredient in other products is an important energy source for man. Unlike wheat and rice, which are refined during their industrialization processes, corn retains its husk, which is rich in fiber. In addition to fiber, corn kernels are made up of carbohydrates, proteins, and B vitamins. It has good caloric potential, being made up of large amounts of sugars and fats. Corn contains several minerals such as iron, phosphorus, potassium, and zinc. However, it is rich in phytic acid, which makes it difficult to absorb them. History. Maize is the domesticated variant of teosinte. The two plants have a different appearance, maize having a single, tall, multiple-leaved stalk and teosinte being a short, leafy plant. The difference between the two is largely controlled by just two genes. According to Mary Pohl, in a work published in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, the first records of corn cultivation date back to 7,300 years ago, having been found on small islands off the coast of Mexico, in the Gulf of Mexico. Archaeological remains of corn found in Guila Cave Naquitz in the Oaxaca Valley date to about 6,250 years ago, and the oldest cave remains in Tehuacan are about 5,450 years old. Beginning around 2500 BCE, maize cultivation began to spread outside of Mesoamerica to other parts of the New World. Your name of indigenous origin Caribbean meant the sustenance of life. Corn has been the staple food of several important civilizations over the centuries. The Olmecs, Mayans, Aztecs, and Incas revered the cereal in art and religion. Corn was planted by Native Americans in mounds, using a complex system that varied the species planted according to its use. This method has been replaced by single-species plantations. With the Great Navigations started in the 15th century and the consequent Columbian Exchange, the culture of corn expanded to other parts of the world. Today, it is grown and consumed on all continents, and its production is second only to wheat and rice. The planting of corn in the ancestral form continues to be practiced in South America, mainly in less developed regions, in the system known in Brazil as Swidens. At the end of the 1950s, due to a great campaign in favor of wheat, the cereal lost space on the Brazilian table. Currently, although the level of corn consumption in Brazil has been growing, it is still far from being compared to countries like Mexico and the Caribbean region. Uses. Corn is basically used in food, either indirectly, as animal feed, or through direct human consumption. Use in direct human food. In the United States, the use of corn in direct human consumption is relatively small, although there is a large production of breakfast cereals, such as corn flakes and corn syrup, used as a sweetener. In Mexico, its use is very important, being the basis of the population's diet. It is the main ingredient of tortillas and other dishes of Mexican cuisine. According to the Brazilian Agricultural Research Corporation, in Brazil only 5% of the corn produced is intended for direct human consumption. In Brazil, it is the main raw material of several dishes of typical Brazilian cuisine, such as hominy, couscous, polenta, angu, porridges, pamonhas, creams, cakes, popcorn, or simply boiled corn. In industry, it can be used as a component for the manufacture of sweets, cookies, breads, chocolates, jellies, ice cream, and mayonnaise. Despite being used to make bread, corn does not contain the protein gluten. This makes corn roasts not especially nutritious, as is the case with wheat roasts. Cultivation. Corn has high yield potential and is very responsive to technology. The technological level of the culture is between medium and high. Cultivation is ideally mechanized and benefits greatly from the no-till technique. Using planting discs is suitable for your sieve. The planting of corn is done both in the so-called safrinha and in the main crop, i.e. the summer crop. In the southeast region of Brazil, the most suitable planting month is usually September, but planting can be done until November. Depending on the month of planting, the spacing between the rows and the amount of seeds per meter should vary. The planting cycle varies between 115 and 135 days. Fertilization must be done according to the soil analysis. Pest and weed control should only be done if necessary. There is not always a need for intensive irrigation. At least in traditionally producing regions, rainfall is sufficient for the water needs of the plant. Successful crops have an average germination value in the range of 95%. Average productivity varies between 250 and 350 bags per bushel. In regions of record productivity in Brazil, there are producers who reach 520 bags per bushel. Harvest. Before World War II, most corn was harvested by hand. This often involved large numbers of workers and associated social events. One or two small tractors were used, but mechanical harvesters were not used until the end of the war. By hand or through the combine, the entire ear is collected and the separation of the grain and the cob is a separate operation. Previously, this was done on a special machine. Today, modern combines have attached grain separation units. They cut the corn close to the base, separate the kernels from the cob with metal rollers and store only the kernels. World. Corn is widely cultivated in different regions of the world. The United States accounts for almost 50% of world production. Other major producers are the People's Republic of China, India, Brazil, France, Indonesia, and South Africa. World production was 600 million tons in 2003. Corn is sown taking advantage of the spring rains. Its root system is weak and the plant is dependent on constant rainfall or irrigation. In the United States, a good harvest is traditionally predicted if the corn is knee-high by July 4th, knee-high by the 4th of July, although modern hybrids often exceed this growth rate. Corn used as silage is harvested while the plant is green and the fruit is immature. Otherwise, the corn is left in the field until autumn to dry out. Sometimes it is not harvested until winter, or until early spring. In other regions and circumstances, pesticides are used to dry the corn faster and take advantage of high grain prices. In North America, fields are often planted using crop rotation with a nitrogen-fixing crop such as beans or soybeans. The table below illustrates world corn production in millions of tons/year. According to data from FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. Countries year 2003 year 2006 year 2009 year 2021. United States 256.2 267.5 331 392.5. China 115.9 151.7 163.1 257.3. Brazil 48.3 42.6 51.2 82.3. Country production in 2018. Yearly tons. United States 392,450,840. China 257,173,900. Brazil 82,288,298. Argentina 43,462,323. Ukraine 35,801,050. Indonesia 30,253,938. India 27,820,000. Mexico 27,169,977. Romania 18,663,939. Canada 13,884,800. World total 1,147,621,934. Brazil. In 2018, Brazil produced 82.2 million tons of corn, being the third largest producer in the world. The states that produce the most are Mato Grosso, Paraná, Goiás, Mato Grosso do Sul, and Rio Grande do Sul. Corn is the fifth most important product in the Brazilian export basket, with 3.3% of national exports in 2019, worth $7.3 billion. Currently, only about 5% of Brazilian production is intended for human consumption and, even so, indirectly in the composition of other products. This is mainly due to the lack of information about corn and the lack of greater dissemination of its nutritional qualities, as well as the eating habits of the Brazilian population, which favors other grains. Grown throughout Brazil, corn is used both directly as food and for alternative uses. Most of its production is used as feed for cattle, swine, poultry, and fish. Currently, only about 15% of Brazilian production is intended for human consumption and, even so, indirectly in the composition of other products. This is probably due to the lack of information about corn and its qualities and the Brazilian culinary custom of using more grains of rice and beans. Alongside soy, corn is one of the spearheads of the recent expansion of Brazilian agricultural activity. Corn cultivation is highly benefited by the technology and innovations of agricultural research, being one of the main success stories of the so-called Green Revolution. In addition to the obvious benefits arising from exports, such as the generation of foreign exchange for the country, corn cultivation acquires strategic importance when taking into account the market advantage that a large national corn production brings to agricultural activities that use animal feed as a base, such as cattle farming, poultry farming, swine farming, and even fish farming. Aside from its high prestige in agribusiness, corn is also one of the most cultivated crops by Brazilian family agriculture, both for subsistence and for local sale. Portugal. In Portugal, the cultivated area is around 200,000 hectares. The most sown corns are hybrids, representing about 71.4% of the global crop area. Maize is grown in Portugal essentially in Minho and the Azores. So much so that it had an influence on traditional architecture and landscape, with traditional granaries existing throughout the region. Maize is sown between March and June, with harvest in September. South Africa. In South Africa, maize, they're called mealai, plays a leading role in food. As in the rest of Africa, it forms the basis of the diet, being consumed for example in bread and cakes, in liquid, fuzamandla, and alone or as an accompaniment to other foods, mealai pap, corn dough. South Africa was, in 2005, the ninth largest producer of maize in the world, with 12 million tons. Corn nutritional information. The following table shows the nutritional information for 100 g of cooked green corn. Components: 100 g of boiled green corn. Energy: 98 calories. Proteins: 3.2 g. Fats: 2.4 g. Carbohydrates: 17.1 g. Fibers: 4.6 g. Vitamin C: 1.7 milligrams. Vitamin E: 0.29 milligrams. Vitamin A: 4 micrograms. Vitamin B3: 3.74 g. Vitamin B9: 75 micrograms. Potassium: 162 milligrams. Phosphorus: 61 milligrams. Magnesium: 20 milligrams. Calcium: 2 milligrams. Zinc: 0.5 milligrams. Lutein: 1.50 milligrams. Zeaxanthin: 0.57 milligrams. Carotenes: 2.20 milligrams. The 7 health benefits of corn. Corn is a very versatile type of cereal that has several health benefits, such as protecting vision, as it is rich in the antioxidants lutein and zeaxanthin, and improving intestinal health, due to its high fiber content, mainly insoluble ones. Corn helps to strengthen the immune system, provide energy for the body, and regulate blood sugar levels. This cereal can be consumed in different ways. It can be added to salads and soups. It can also be used to make cakes, pies, hominy, or pamonha. Benefits of corn. The main health benefits of corn are: 1. Prevent eye diseases, as it protects the eye macula due to the presence of the antioxidants lutein, zeaxanthin, and beta-carotenes. 2. Strengthen the immune system, as it is rich in carotenoids and vitamins, which helps to increase the body's defenses, thus preventing diseases such as the flu and cold. 3. Help to lose weight, as it has fibers that help increase the feeling of satiety. However, as it is rich in carbohydrates, corn consumption should be part of a healthy and balanced diet. 4. Reduce cholesterol levels, as it has insoluble fibers that help to decrease the absorption of fat present in food and increase the excretion of bile acids. In addition, when fermented by intestinal bacteria, short-chain fatty acids are produced, inhibiting the synthesis of cholesterol in the liver, which reduces the risk of cardiovascular diseases. 5. Help control blood sugar, as it contains fiber and B vitamins, as well as magnesium. 6. Give energy, as it is rich in carbohydrates. 7. Improve intestinal transit, as its fibers favor the formation of feces and serve as food for the intestinal flora. In addition, it does not contain gluten and therefore can be consumed in case of celiac disease or gluten intolerance. Popcorn corn is the richest in fiber, being a great ally for proper intestinal functioning. In addition, it contains the most minerals such as phosphorus, magnesium and zinc, while green corn contains the most vitamins, especially folic acid, niacin and vitamin B6. Did you like the nature of the Amazon channel? I ask you again to subscribe and activate the bell. Leave yours. Lay to strengthen the nature of the Amazon channel and share it with your friends and family so they can get to know our history of knowledge, and I say goodbye hereby.